Hello, hello. Is there sound now? Yeah, I did not have the microphone turned on. It's on, yes? Okay, good. All right, yeah. So I tried to get my phone to work with with YouTube, but it didn't work. So now I'm filming off of my computer's camera. Keith Callahan, hello, Patrick Kiefer's here, and yes, the sound is there now. Okay, good. So we have Marty, Tommy, Ken is here, Tommy's here. Yeah, I said that. Jermaine is here. Awesome. I started early because I spent 2 hours uh, earlier today to try to get my phone to work to film the live stream. 2 hours. I could not find the setting or a button or any type of indication that YouTube is going to recognize my phone. Yeah, I put a new backdrop. It's a photography backdrop of a rustic stone wall. Yeah, it's a vinyl, like a it's a vinyl backdrop that I just tacked with thumbtacks to the wall. See, it's tacked on. You can see the separation right there. But yeah, instead of a plain blank white wall, it is now a rustic stone wall. Funny. Okay, so who else do we have? Steven is here. Danny Collins is here. So I'm glad you liked the new backdrop. Yeah, I was thinking of different backdrops, but this just seemed like the simplest one. Right? I mean, there's a bunch of backdrops I could use. Good, good. I'm using the computer's camera, so hopefully it's clear and it won't mess up when I'm napping, because sometimes it looks like it's really blurry. But I've got plenty of lights, and I was messing around with the lighting and all that. I am going to get a new camera soon. I just got to order it. I've just been holding back on ordering it because you never know, something else could come up. Yeah, everyone say hi. We're still early, so I started this early just in case. But it came up. But YouTube is having trouble with live streams. We might not be able to see the live stream video after the live stream is ended. We may not be able to see the video for a day or so, like more than 24 hours. They're having trouble processing the live stream videos. YouTube is having trouble processing the live stream videos, but hopefully it won't happen to us. Okay. So yeah, if you're new, I start napping in the second hour of the live stream. Okay. The top of the second hour is when I start napping. So you can come back if you want to see napping, you can come back in an hour. Channel new. Okay. 11 people, 3 likes, 6 likes. Okay, the likes are starting to tick upwards. Good, good. Yeah. I can change the backdrop every once in a while. I think that one cost me like $17 or something. It wasn't too bad. 7 foot by 9 foot. These are photography. It's a photography backdrop, just in case you're wondering. There are nature backdrops too. Yep, yep. But it doesn't look right having this this technology behind me with a natural backdrop with like trees or a garden or something. So I'm checking my phone right now. I'm sorry. Danny Moore is here. Yep, yep. I'm glad you guys like the backdrop. So I like it when it's easy. Yeah, I like it when the setup is easy. That was easy. Looks like I'm sitting next to a fireplace. Well, good. They have backdrops of fireplaces, but they were all kind of lame because they were at an angle and not straight on. I would like a fireplace backdrop right behind me, but it didn't work out. I can't find one with a fireplace straight on. They're all kind of slanted at an angle or something. Is the backdrop nappable? I wish. Mike Mason's here. Nice background. Thank you. Thank you. Stephen Stacy. It kind of wants me to start getting ready for Christmas. Yeah. The Christmas tree I have is set up permanently right there. I haven't taken it down. I'm not going to take it down. It'll be there all year round. Of course, I don't plug it in. Right now, I plugged it in so I can have some lighting in the background, I guess. Make the background more interesting. Red-Eyed Patriot, Michael's here. Been cleaning up some pocket knives. Hope everyone is doing well. Yeah. Charles Rooker is here. Jim Rooker, how was your trip to Coshocton, Ohio? It was good. Yeah. It wasn't too far. It was like 10 or 11 hours. GPS says it's like 10 hours. And depending on how many times I stop more on the way there than the way back, as usual. On my way back, usually I don't stop as often. So it only took me like 10 and a half hours to get back, something like that. But it took me probably 11 hours or 11 and a half hours to get there, which is not a bad drive, I don't think, compared to the other nap-ins that I've been to. Yeah. So I'm going to wait. We'll wait till everyone gets here before we start chatting, I suppose. If you're new and you have questions, ask now before I start napping in the second hour, because when I start napping, I ignore the chat pretty much. Yeah. But today's Friday, so it doesn't have to be serious or anything. We can talk about current events or whatever and other stuff except for politics and religion. Yeah. We'll leave those things out. Alrighty. I mean, that's pretty clear in most discussions, in most things, people don't discuss politics and religion if it's related to some kind of skill or whatever, like Flintnapping or whatever kind of skill. All right, so I'll stop looking at my phone. I got some messages earlier, but I get a lot of spam stuff, so nothing important. I got to get your address again, says Michael, so I can send you this awesome knife. All right. Let's see. Yes, really like the videos from the road. I'm glad you liked it. Next time I'll spend some more time filming each booth at the nap-ins. Free advertisement for those guys, I guess. So yeah, I'll spend more time when I'm going around the booths for a walk around video. This time I kind of kept everything at a distance, but I'll walk up to each booth next time. I wasn't sure if they wanted to be filmed or not. I guess I'll ask as I walk up, and if they don't want to, I'll just kind of edit it out or something. But I don't know. I don't like editing because it takes me forever. Anything that takes forever, I don't like. Hey, Bushy's here. I'll send you the address right now, Michael. I got to do it before the live stream officially starts. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so you should already have my address. I'll resend this one here. I see an email that I sent you my address before. So let me just do that again. I'll do a compose and then address. This will be a whole new email. Who else we got? If you're new, you may not get some of the inside jokes or some of the chat that goes on. So just be warned. Okay. All right. I'm sending you my address, Michael. What else have I got in here? Yeah, like I thought. Bunch of spam. Okay. What else? What else? Ed Gould says, I'm new. Yeah, right. Sure. Tommy Taylor's here. Well, I saw you earlier. Let's see. Yeah. Second one. Marty got the first. He was the first one in here. Buckskin NYB is Marty. He was the first one to show up. Bren is here. Howdy. So let me see. What are we going to talk about? Or what am I going to nap? I've got some Texas stuff. I've got just plain old Texas chert. This one here, this one is a heat treat. And this one is raw. They're both high grade cherts. I'm looking forward to seeing how this naps after heat treating. It's not heat treated by me. My friend Don heat treated this one. This one is raw, but it's a high grade raw. Hopefully, there's no bad defects in it. Okay. It's a chunker. It's not going to be easy to get a large biface out of it, but I'm going to try. This one's much easier to nap. Yeah. In the first stages. Let's see. And I found, I've been looking through all my rocks. I finally got all my rocks out of my storage unit today. And they're now all in the basement, but they're kind of disorganized. Kind of. They're in the proper buckets and bins, but there are some that are duplicates. Like I've got, especially the heat treats, I've got those in all kinds of different bins. And then some of them are similar. I've got to take out those and group them together in similar batches instead of having a bunch. What I do when I heat treat a lot of times is I just throw everything together. So I don't have to cook little batches. I just cooked a big batch of a bunch of stuff mixed together. And then I separate it later. I've been doing that for a while. So that means I've got a bunch of stuff all mixed together and a lot of batches of stuff mixed together. Anyways, I'll be separating those in the coming weeks. Ken says, I got some chart I need to go pick up. Ferdo Joe says, I had a question, but I forgot what it was. All right, let's see. Michael says, I got a friend in Florida that ran up on some points napped by John Henry Driver, a Cherokee from North Carolina. He passed in 2014, St. Charles, Dovetail, and Clovis. Jeremy says, hi, guys and girls. Do we have any gals in the chat? I saw some, Keith says, I saw some very chocolate-looking rock. Danny Collins made a biface the other day from it and wondering if it was Texas chert or jasper. Yeah, who knows? Texas doesn't usually have brown jasper. Mike Tufts is here. Hello, hello. The chocolate stuff looked pretty. Yeah. The stuff that looks like chocolate to me is the Rainy Buttes stuff. Gary is here. Okay, I made it. Pull the door prize. Yeah, everyone said hi to Gary. It's not Don Reed. That's Gary. Sal is here. Hey. Blades and Points by SGP. That's Sal, in case you don't know. He's a friend of mine. Styley Designs is here. All right. Dan Collins says, or it could have been Rainy Buttes. Yeah. Oh, dang. Blake, you're here. There's my son-in-law. My goodness. You're watching tonight? That's awesome. Now, if we get silly in the chat, just remember, it's my fault because I say Friday nights, we can talk about anything we want. It's not going to be only Flintnapping. And you got 2 hours of this. That's funny. Are you all three watching or just you? I hope all three. That's so good. Friday Night Live. Yes, it is live. Let's see. Gary says, I'm not smart enough to make my own username, so I'm stuck with a girl's name. I thought that was your wife or something. Yeah. Sal says, I'll keep it cool today. All righty. Blake says, all three of us. Nolan says hi. All righty. Hey, Nolan. Hey, Sarah. Now I'm a little bit embarrassed because I might say something silly or dumb. Right? But yeah, what I'm doing now is I'm just looking at the chat. If you've watched these before, you know what's going on. If you haven't, I read the chat and see mainly for questions, but sometimes we goof around. Okay. Jim Main says, what size would you recommend for hunting point preforms? They have to be 7/8 inch wide when finished. In Missouri, it's a minimum. I would go with 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches. The length can be almost anything, but you start with 1.5 preform and then work it down. It should also be a 6-to-1 ratio. 1.5 wide, 6-to-1 ratio. Then it gives you plenty of room. Let's see. Jim Cooper, Patrick, did you see the picture I posted to your community of the sale near me? I don't know. Did I? I don't think so. I don't remember. Let me see. Jim Main. Okay, I'm looking for Jim Cooper. I don't see any posts by you, Jim Cooper. No. Posts by Jim Main. Yeah, I don't see the post. I gotta put a like on that one. You made a bunch of arrowheads there, Jim Main. Yeah, I'm looking at my phone. Okay, excuse me while I be rude and look at my phone. Let's see. Ross Wellman is here. Hey, all nappers out there. Yes. Danny Collins says, Keith, if it was the last pie face, it was Rainy Buttes. All right. Bushy says, I guess you can call me Donna Mae. No, I don't think so. All right. Let's see here. Hello, Patrick says Killer Cork. Hello. Mike Mason says Missouri probably has the same regulations I do in Illinois. I don't know. They keep messing with the regulations on the broadheads. A lot of states now don't have any restrictions on stone points. I shouldn't say a lot, but I've noticed that they've reduced the regulations on stone points. Some states you can use any type, any size stone point. I forget which states are allowing that nowadays. Sal says, "Is everyone staying flaky?" I think so. Yep. I think everyone is flaky in this community. Let's see. So yeah, we got. In case you don't know, there are people from all over the U.S. in the chat. Okay, we know where these guys are from because they've announced it before. But if you're new, just announce where you're from so we know where you're from. And we sometimes we get internationals participating in the live stream, but on Friday nights it's usually too late for the guys in Europe. The one that's furthest away, I think, is Alina, and she's in Kazakhstan. But this is too late for her. Patrick Trousdale says, "I just ordered a buffalo leg pad. USPS has me disappointed." Roy Browski's here. Gary says, "I was so excited getting here. I missed the new background." Nice background. Thanks. Let's see. Roy says, "I made some pine pitch glue in the shape of a bison horns and wrapped them up in paper bags, then froze them for trading or giveaways." Interesting. Sal says, "It's still freaking hot in Texas. I don't feel like napping lately. It got cool, then hot again." Yeah. Luckily, it's getting cool here every day. Yeah. I am lucky. Keith says, I like to get Maryland to let us use stone. What does that mean? Ed says, "It's nice here this week in Colorado." I believe it. Bushy says, "Yes, you can use a stone point for bow hunting in New York, provided the point meets the legal requirements for a broadhead. A legal broadhead in New York must be non-barbed, have at least 2 cutting edges." Interesting. Yeah. That's pretty much the same in Texas too, I believe, where I'm going to be hunting. Patrick says, "I was going to take my new Ishi stick to visit Stone Hook to get some pointers, but I'll have to delay it a week." So you live near Stone Hook? Interesting. Keith says, "Maryland, Eastern Shore. You can't pick up quartzite or something like that in Maryland?" Jim Main says, "There's no barbs allowed in Missouri on stone points either." Yeah. The general rule is if the stone point looks like a metal broadhead in shape and size, no one's going to mess with you. Some metal broadheads are not an inch or 7/8 inches wide. Some are more narrow than 7/8 inches. I don't know if they mess with you if your steel broadhead is less than 7/8 inches wide. But like Bushy said, many states only require 2 cutting edges, and that's it. There's no restriction on the width. Stone points. Maryland doesn't allow stone points? Jordan says South Dakota weather is great. Yeah, for now. I've heard a lot of things about South Dakota because where I used to work, we sent equipment up to North Dakota and South Dakota for the oil field. And no one liked the weather when they got sent up there. Jim Cooper, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Yay. Now I can nap in the second hour. Yeah. I like to get at least 1 super chat before I nap in the second hour. The Black Hills are great this time of year, I guess, in South Dakota. Yeah. Ed Gould says the trees are changing in Colorado. They're changing already. Stone Hook from Orange, Texas. I love that dude's accent. Yeah. Some people can't understand what he's saying, though. He does mumble a little bit. Let's see. Mike Mason says, I've been telling Ed of my forearm by conservation officers for a season over nothing. Feds wouldn't even pursue charges. What is that? Let's see. Okay, Patrick says Stone Hook has a different style than Patrick, but I like having both inputs. Yep. It's good to have more than one perspective on the napping. Killer Cork says, Patrick, I recently acquired some picture jasper slabs. What would you recommend for a heat treat on that stuff? I only have a turkey roaster that goes up to 500, so hopefully it's hot enough. Yeah, just try it at 500. I've heard the picture jasper needs more, but it varies like everything. I imagine it varies. I would try 400 first, though, before you crank it up to 500 on the next attempt. Yeah, try 400 to see if it works, because you don't want to blow up the picture jasper. That'd be terrible. Bushy says New York must also be 7/8 inches wide on the broadheads. Yeah, for hunting game animals. Now, for hunting non-game animals, anything can be used. Right? Brent says, LOL, my wife heard it the other day and said, what the hell did he just say? Hit the like button. Yeah, hit the like button. We got 37 people, but not that many likes yet. Let's see. What is this? Jordan says, Mr. Ed, I found a Fairburn agate 2 weeks ago and sold it for $1,000. What? I think we're in the wrong business. Roy says, I have a lot of material to nap on its way. I'm excited. Did you buy a bunch of stuff? I see a super chat. $5 super chat. Patrick Trousdale, thank you. He says, just keep on napping and teaching. All righty. I will do that. Killer Cork says, Stone Hook is awesome. Yeah. Mitchell Martin. I'm in Arkansas, and last week I found an ancient flint quarry within 200 yards of my house. I spent 3 hours today taking some very nice red and gray spalls. Well, aren't you lucky? Man. Mike Tuff says, I can't hear at all hardly what Stone Hook is saying, but I know what's going to happen when he gets the Sharpie out. I don't know what that means. Let's see. What part of Arkansas, Mitchell? I've lived there for years, says Jim Main. Let's see. Let's see. Roy says I'm going to start using copper tools, so I can't wait. Yep. Yeah. Ed Gould says it's not legal to GP to Fairburn to collect, I thought. I don't know what that means. Mitchell Martin says north central Arkansas on the south shore of Bull Shoals Lake. Let's see. Okay, let me go to the end of the chat because I'm missing a bunch of chat. Jim Cooper says, Patrick, did you see the message attached to my super chat? No, I did not. Okay, Jim Cooper, it's right under Mike Tuff's latest post about tools. I don't see it. Let's see. I'm going back into the chat. I don't see. I thought I had reviewed every single comment. If I don't understand a comment, I do tend to skip over it. Just if I miss your comment, just ask the comment again, please, because going back into the chat for me is very, very difficult. Okay, Jim, just ask it again. If I miss something that you want me to see, just say it again, please. it's hard enough for me to see the latest comments, but going back to the previous comments, for some reason, I find it extremely difficult. Gary says, Patrick, when is your birthday? My birthday is January 2nd. Let's see. I'm trying to read every comment carefully, and stuff that you guys are talking to each other about and stuff I don't understand, I tend to skip over. Like if it's just a random comment responding to somebody else. Let's see. So Michael says, I really wish Jason would post videos again. I hope he's feeling well. Jason who? Okay, another super chat just came in. What is it? Jim Cooper, the community post I mentioned about the sale near me is right below Mike Tuff's post about his interchangeable tools and right above Joe's post. All right, let's see. I thought I went past that and I didn't see yours. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so this is Mike Tuff's post on interchangeable tools. I think he has another one. Okay, and these are in order from newest to latest. So the newest ones are on top. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through here, and you can see if your post is where you say it is. Okay, so there's another Mike Tuff's post right there. So I don't see yours, Jim. I don't see any. Okay, what is this one here? No. I'm probably scrolling past where you think it is, right? Because I don't see any more Mike Tuff's posts. Now, did I blow by your post? Tell me in the chat. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Where are we in the chat? Let's see here. Okay, Jim is asking, can anyone else see his post? Yeah, Mike Tuff says, I'm trying to find it, Jim, but I don't see it. Red-Eyed Patriot says, I still put the flaker under my gut like Jason does. Yeah, Jason Newman puts his indirect percussion flaker under his belly. He's got a large enough belly to do that. Yes, he's a big man. Let's see here. Jim Cooper says, nope, I don't see it, but it shows up in the community for me. That's not good. That's not good that maybe some of you guys' posts don't show up in the community. That's not good. Yeah, it's not good. That's interesting. But YouTube is having trouble with the community and these live streams. I just got a message from YouTube the other day. Sal says, I'm one of the lucky guys to have met Patrick and Jason Newman. Very cool to watch both nap. I'm glad you think so. I usually end up watching Jason. He's very focused. He's able to do the tedious work without getting tired. I don't see him getting tired or frustrated at all when he naps. Gary says, Roy, you missed the door prize? Let me see. Going to. Ken says he's going to Edmonton next month for the North American Fiddlers Convention. I see. Patrick says, I have a private lake that's spring fed, very clean fish. Very good. Mike Mason says, I don't know who Jason is. I've seen him nap once before. Oh, now I know who Jason is. I've seen him nap once before. Yeah, he's got videos on Facebook. I was about to delete my Facebook account, but I think someone created a profile that has my name on it and is spamming people, because I don't see anybody spamming from my page. But let me know if you're on Facebook and you get a spam message from me. Let me know if you're able to let me know. If you know what my real page is. I don't send out any messages on Facebook. I barely even check it. So I'm not going to contact you initially from Facebook. I usually just reply to people. Let's see. Crappie and Sauger for me, says Mike, where he lives. These are fish, I imagine. Patrick says, I mostly like to eat bass, but I'll go get some catfish for the cause. Yeah, I don't like catfish. If I catch a catfish, I throw it back. I got something cooking. Hold on. I got to turn it down. I got the slow cooker on high right now, and it's making some noise. Bubbling too much. All right. I turned it down to low. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I like panfish myself. I mean, I'll eat bass and trout and all that if I get lucky and catch one. But when I go fishing here or anywhere, yeah, I don't care if I catch a big fish. I do like panfish. That's my favorite. The bluegills and they call them pumpkin seed or something like that around here too. What do they call them? They don't call them sunfish like they do in the textbooks. They call them bluegills, which they do say that in the textbook. But the other sunfish, they call them pumpkin seed or something like that here. Let's see. And perch. I like bluegills, perch, and sunfish. So that's usually what I try to catch when I go fishing. Okay, so Jim Cooper's going to post again on the community. All right. Let's see. Sal says, I gotta say, the Christmas tree gives it good vibes. Well, good. At least I get my money's worth. Let's see. Patrick says, I've never ate a sauger, but I assume it's like eating whiting. I don't know either. I've had pike. There's pike out here too. That's good. But yeah, my favorite is the panfish. All right, I'll check and see. Let me get to the end of the chat so I'm not missing anything. Let's see. Yeah, Tommy Taylor says, Danny Collins, you need to post more shorts of you flute playing. I really like them. Mike Mason says, I like eating walleye. They are a subspecies that fills a niche in rivers. Fertile Joe Bushy says he's cooking spam. Who are you talking about? Spam soup? No, it's chicken soup with sausage. And this time it's what sausage did I put in it this time? I put in maple smoke sausages. Yeah, maple smoked sausages. But the next batch is going to be jalapeno chicken sausages. I just picked those up on sale today. And hickory smoked bacon. I put bacon in the soup too. Usually I put smoked meats in with the chicken when I make a soup. And that's what I've been eating mostly now for the past month or so. And I was putting squash, zucchini, and that sort of thing in the soup also. But whenever I eat plants, I get itchy. The squash isn't so bad, but after a while, yeah. And I put on weight because it has carbohydrates. Although it was very good. I will not put spam in the soup. Nope. Although I have been known to put hot dogs in there. Let's see. It's so easy with the slow cooker. I was frying everything over the summer, but then I said, no, let's just go back to the slow cooker. Let's see. By far my favorite is crappie, says Michael, Red-Eyed Patriot. Yeah. Gar is really good too, says Mike Mason. Perch. Who likes perch? I missed it. Mike Mason. Red-Eyed Patriot says brim. Mike Mason says shell crackers, red ear bluegill. What does that mean? Ken says, Ed Gould, I love buskers and street music. I'm a busker. I busk all the time down on the boardwalk here. What's a busker? That's a new one on me. I don't know what that is. Patrick says, I don't usually go out of my way to get catfish. I go after predatory fish. If a cat bites my lure, I'll keep it, but I don't bait for them. It's boring and they suck to clean. Yeah, I don't mind all that. I just don't like the way they taste. To me, I'd rather eat frog legs than catfish. They both have a similar taste, I think. Well, I got to say, I do like frog legs better than catfish. But frog legs taste like frogs. Let's see. Okay, Jim says I already did the repost. Okay, let me see. So the newest, Danny Collins, Lithics and Leather. Okay, this is the newest. Let's go to the, come on. I always push the wrong buttons. Or inadvertently push the wrong buttons if I'm not careful. So the first post is from Danny Collins, right? There's nothing above that. And then Jim Main, and then Mike Tufts. So it doesn't show up on mine. Ken says, I've been fishing a lot lately. I want to get into microfishing or Japanese tanago fishing for fun. Never heard of that. Someone send Patrick some green moss agate so he can do another Christmas tree point, says Michael. Ferdo Joe says, native brook trout and walleye are number one. Patrick says, pike is good white meat. I catch a lot of bluegill on the fly and beetle spins. Google eye or rock bass have more flavor than them all. What's a Google eye? Killer Cork says, Danny is pretty skilled in those flutes. Good stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I missed a bunch of chats. Going pretty fast. Mike Mason said, Sauger is like walleyes. That response was to Sauger tasting like white fish. I never had white fish myself. Let's see. I prefer brown over I prefer bowfin over gar, says Patrick. Let's see. Ken says, Gary, not yet, Don. Don't call him Don. That's Gary. I'm from Vancouver Island, Canada, but one day I hope to make it that far. Awesome. Shell crackers get huge, says Patrick. Ed says, I came across a video of Patrick's ID stash or LD stash. Pretty cool to see all that work. Yeah, an old video. Yeah, I have an old video of the stuff that I used to have. I sold all that stuff. Ken says a busker is a term for a street performer. Really? Never heard of it. Busker is someone who plays music in public for donations. I've always just heard street performer. Is it busker or boosker? I never heard that. Talking about food, Ralph. Ralph will be here in 5 minutes, says Sal. If you're talking about food, yeah. Ed Gould says, HS, a street performer that uses a looper. Dang, I don't even know what a looper is. I don't know any of this stuff. Patrick says, frog legs taste like perch. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, yeah, I like turtle also. Actually, I like turtle better than fish. Let's see here. Ken says, Ed Gould, nice, Ed. I haven't had a chance to experiment with the looper pedal yet, but being a multi-instrumentalist, I think it would be a good addition. Okay, a looper is some kind of pedal. Gulf Coast Knapping says, what's up? Yeah, you made it. That's what's up. We're talking about different kinds of fish. Google Eye, my bad, or Goggle Eye. I don't know what Goggle Eye is either. Gulf Coast Knapping is in the house, so say hi to Gulf Coast Knapping. Tommy Taylor says, if we talk about Ralph, he will show up. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, everyone is saying hi to Jake. Let's see. Bowfin, such as Grinnell. Yeah, I don't know. Bushy says, one thing better than perch are perch roe in the winter. Their roe is in the winter. I mean, they're full of eggs in the winter. That's news to me. Sal says, Patrick, have you been bow fishing? Oh, yes, I've been bow fishing. And I was bow fishing in Indiana when I was working there for a job. I was living in a campsite instead of living in, let's say, a trailer park or a hotel or whatever. I saved up a lot of money by living at a campsite, and just across the way a little bit, across a field, because there's just farms around there was a little pond, and it was full of carp and panfish and some other kind of weird fish. It looked like shad or something. So I was bow fishing every other weekend when I was there for carp, and I learned to prepare carp, and I do like carp as long as I fillet or cook the right parts. I do like carp. It's almost like it's like versatile, like chicken. You can add different things to the soup. I used to make soup out of the carp, and you can flavor it. I also, cooked it over the fire, barbecued it, sort of, and it absorbs flavors really well. But yeah, I bow fished a lot for carp, and I got kind of good at it, and I enjoyed it. But carp are not stupid, and they see you, but they don't respond to something that they see that's foreign if it's moving very slowly. So you can move up really slowly on them with a bow and arrow, and they'll just drift by, and they'll see you. You can tell that they can see you, but if you move very slowly, they don't pay attention, or the ones that I was fishing for. So they would swim close enough, and if it was close enough to the surface, I'd shoot them, and it was like a easy peasy shot, and you can get like a nice 8-pound carp pretty easily. Tommy says frog legs are hard to beat. They're good. They good. Yeah, if you fry them up just right. Never had frog legs, said Ken, but they sound good. Yes. Ken says, do you fish, Patrick? Not really. If you start talking about fishing with me, I'm lost. I'm happy with just a cane pole, a string, a sinker, and a hook, and maybe a bobber, and a little bucket of worms. That's how I fish, or with a bow fishing. I don't do anything fancy. I don't have any lures. I don't use flies. I don't use casting equipment. I just use a plain old stick, string, and sinker and hook. That's it. So I tell people I've been doing a lot of fishing, but I don't do it in a way that most people think. I try to keep it as simple as possible. Let's see. Mike Mason says, I'm sorry I didn't get any turtles this year, Patrick. I'll keep remembering. I want to gift you some turtleneck hides. Yeah, that'd be all right. Don't worry about it. Take your time. Goggle eye is sometimes called rock bass. They have a huge mouth similar to a bass, but perch size. Oh, dang. Have I seen those around here? I don't know. I saw a guy catch some bass and some trout here. I was just watching him fish. He used a spinning lure to catch those, but he threw them all back because he says, no, we can't eat them here. Out of the Connecticut River. Yeah, I believe him, because just like half a mile, a quarter mile or less from where he was fishing in the park, there's a sewage treatment plant. Now, he was fishing upstream of the sewage treatment plant, but still, there's got to be more sewage treatment plants along the river for sure. So yeah, we don't eat anything from the Connecticut River. We have to go inland. And I know a place that I can go fishing that's inland that's got lots of panfish. Ed Gould says a looper just plays a loop of music, and you can overlay several of them and play along. Oh, I get it now. Okay. Bushy says frog legs are great. I got my one granddaughter eating them, and she loves them. Awesome. Can't get any more simple than frog legs as far as getting them. Let's see. Man, I'm missing the chat. Patrick says, I'll stop talking about fish, but yeah, they pre-spawn full of roe in about April here. Yeah, that sounds better. Killer Cork says, I was just texting with Ralph earlier. I'll hit him up to see what's more important than Crafty's live stream. Yeah, what is it? Jim Cooper says, dang it, I give up for now. There's a rock and lapidary sale about 10 minutes from me with large chunks of obsidian, jaspers, and opals and agates. I can't take advantage because of my hip. Carp was misspelled. Spelled it crap. You did. What did you say? Well, I think I understood. You don't like the way it tastes? Oh, well. I like carp better than catfish. Bushy says, when ice fishing, the perch are full of eggs. They spawn in early spring. The eggs are the best. Flour and fry them. Yeah, that's one thing I haven't tried. Mike Mason says, buffalo carp is supposed to be the best according to my grandpa. Yeah, the carp that I was fishing for in Indiana were just regular grass carp, I think they call them. or golden carp or something like that. They're a golden color. I think they're called grass carp, but I can't remember. Silver carp is garbage, says Patrick. Probably. David Rushing, I make a point that will fit a fish arrow to shoot your bowfin carp is fine eating. The fight is on with a 6-pounder. Yeah, carp will fight for sure. You've got to have a very good arrowhead with a good barb on it because they'll tear out that arrow. They're fighters. Sal says, yes, I've seen huge carp and gar swim by like they own the joint. Easy targets for sure. Yeah, in Texas, you can fish for, what is it? Drumfish in the rivers. They're huge too, and they're easy. You can feed them and bait them in, and they'll eat from the top of the water, and that's so easy to shoot. Once they start feeding, they don't really pay too much attention to you. I've done that with carp too. You can put food that'll float, and they'll start eating it, and they're oblivious, kind of, when they're eating, and they're right there on the surface. And the Native Americans used to eat drumfish a lot in Texas. I read about that when I was doing a little bit of research on bow fishing among Native Americans. Patrick says, yeah, good to bowfish. I want to try flounder with a bow versus a spear. All righty. Ed Gould says, a Gulf Coast Knapping is doing some live shows recently. Come and join the fun. All righty. Ken says, that's awesome. I love minimal fishing too. I also use worms. Yeah. I got into the habit of using worms, grasshoppers, and what else did I use? I tried corn. It didn't work. Grasshoppers work pretty good. So yeah, I use mainly worms and grasshoppers. Let's see. Killer Cork says, I'm with you, Patrick. I'm a simple fisherman. I just don't do it often, but I do enjoy it. Now, Ralph, on the other hand, that guy knows enough about fishing to write a book. Yeah. I'm lost with those guys. I have my brother-in-law, my step-brother-in-law, does a lot of fishing. And when he starts talking fishing, it's probably like me talking about napping with him because he knows nothing about Flintknapping. I don't know anything about the type of fishing he does. He goes up to Canada to go fishing. Yeah. Let's see. Mike Mason says, last time I went fishing with my nephew and dad, I proved to them carp is better than worms for catfishing. I see. Carp is good bait. Good gar bait. That's what I think of it. Yeah, well, the different kinds of carp taste differently. Yeah, I realize that. So Michael, Red-Eyed Patriot, has got two 1990s ugly stick glow tip rods and a 33 Classic on one and open face on the other. I also have a vintage Orin fiberglass Johnny Walker rod with cork handle and coppers. Yeah, I don't get into all that stuff. I don't remember anything as far as my other fishing poles that I used to have. Yeah. Bill Taylor's here. Hey, everybody. I made it late, but I made it. I'm about 4 minutes behind on the chat. Let's see. Patrick Trousdale says, I can't wait to try bow fishing, but I got to get a bow first. I don't have one. You don't even have a compound bow? Ed Gould says, yuck, I can't eat carp or bass. Yeah, everyone has their own taste. Drew's Concrete is here. Hello, hello. Hey, Drew. Let's see. Let's see. Patrick says, my biggest drum broke the scale at 99 pounds, and I have pictures to prove it's a state record, but I didn't have it verified by game wardens. That's a huge fish, 99 pounds. The carp I was fishing for ranged from 6 pounds. I think the heaviest one I weighed was like 12. They get fat. They get big and fat. And yeah, they did. Some of them did have roe. I remember that. I didn't try it. I was afraid to try it at that time. This was back in 2001 when I was in Indiana. And yeah, some of the fish, and I think it was a spring, right? They were full of roe, but I didn't eat any of those eggs. A little bit afraid to do that at the time. That was kind of stupid of me. Jim Cooper says salmon is the big eating fish out here. That and steelhead, but I don't like any of them. I see. I do like salmon. Ed Gould says, give me trout. Salmon, crappie, walleye, perch, bluegill, catfish. I eat them up. Sounds good. Yellow underside at the tail end, it's a grass carp. Yeah, that's it. Those are the ones I was eating and fishing for. Let's see. Patrick says, I got half a crab in Port Lavaca. In Port Lavaca? Where's that? David Rushing says, yeah, turtleneck bowstring is always the go-to for native peoples here in Alabama. It won't stretch or shrink. It makes a fine string. Won't twist too tight. Port Lavaca, Texas. Okay. Now it makes sense. I've heard guys fishing out there, yeah. Mike Mason says, man, all this fishing talk makes me want to drink. Let's see. Let me go to the end of the chat. I have a hard time catching up here. Let's see. Talking about seafood now. Let me see. Excuse me while I'm just checking to see if there's any questions. The chat is going too fast for me to read every comment. Ken says, I've been only 3 months napping. I have almost no interesting input, but fishing I can talk to you about. LOL. Yeah. But yeah, my kind of fishing is just simple stuff. And I like to bait the area first before I go fishing. That's what I did in Indiana. I'd go out there every once in a while and throw worms in without fishing. I just go there. It only took me like a few minutes to walk out there with a bucket full of chopped up worms or a little can of chopped up worms and just throw it in that area where I'm going to go fishing on the upcoming Saturday. And it works. It works to pre-bait. And then when you go out, especially bow fishing, you throw a bunch of bait in there and you wait and you'll see them swimming in. Sal says, what's on the napping menu tonight? I've got 2 types of Texas chert. And this is New Braunfels. It's high-grade chert. If you're lucky, Don Tower gave this to me. I mean, he gave me a big, gigantic nodule. I just broke off this chunker the other day at the nap-in. This is raw, high-grade New Braunfels, Texas chert. And this one, I don't know where it's from. I think it's also New Braunfels, but it's heat treat. And he kept it in a bucket that got full of water and got rusty. That's why it's kind of weird color. It's got like a rust stain on it. I'll be napping these 2. Coming up in about 9 minutes, unless I want to start early. Patrick says, Patrick, what diameter stave should I be looking for a one-day build? Diameter stave? You mean a diameter log that you split into staves? For a one-day build? Most guys like 6-inch logs split into 4 pieces. Okay, and they make a bow from each piece if it's a perfect log, and they just pick the best one. Like me, that's what I do. If I have a perfect 6-inch diameter log, 6 feet long, 6 inches, 6 feet long, I split it into 4 parts, make 4 bows, and pick the best one. And it takes me a whole day to make a bow. as long as the wood is dry. If it's not dry, it could take me weeks, months, or even a year to make a bow. Because I'll chop up a log when it's green and get it close to the right dimensions and then put them up to dry for at least 6 months. Sometimes they'll dry in 6 months, but sometimes it takes a year. If it's open grain wood like oak, it'll dry quick. Oak and hickory dry fairly quickly. And white oak, red oak, hickories, they'll dry fairly quickly if you get them down to if you shave them down to close to the dimensions of the floor tillering stage. And Patrick says, fire dry and harden. Yeah, I don't ever fire dry any of my stuff or fire harden any of my stuff. It's too unpredictable for me. Fordo Joe says, Patrick, should I split a log for you if I find a good one now? Yeah, that'd be awesome. If you find a 6-inch diameter, maybe 8-inch diameter log, split it into 4 pieces. Yeah, that'd be awesome. You don't have to do it because it's labor intensive, especially with elm. With elm, I start splitting it, and if it is splitting straight, I will finish the splits with a circular saw and handheld circular saw, and then go down the log with that. As long as I'm following the grain, as long as the grain is straight, because splitting elm is terrible. But that's one of my favorites. But yeah, my other favorite is Osage, and I do like mulberry as well. It's related to Osage, except mulberry. The ones that I had, I think I had 2 mulberry bows. They ended up being kind of weak, so I think I gave one to one of my daughters. I don't know what happened to the other one. Bill Taylor says, you said you needed some arrow shafts from the West Coast. I've got some. How long would you like them to be? Okay. Let's see. Let me think here. I need them for a friend of mine. He needs them at 32 inches. Me, I need them at 26. So if you don't have anything at 32, don't worry about it. I'll take 26-inch long shafts. That's what I use. Thanks, Bill. If you have 32-inch shafts, I'll take those too, but they're going to go to a friend of mine who wants some so I'm not going to give him all of them. If you send me some stuff from the West Coast at 32, that is 32 inches, I'll just probably give him half. Okay, so if you're okay with that, then send them. If you want them only to be for me, just write a note. Please don't give these away. And I'm not going to be offended or anything. I'm appreciating the gift for sure. And if you send me something and you say, please don't give this away or don't sell it or whatever, that's fine. But make sure you write that note, because I've been known to share what I get. Just fair warning. I hope I said that right. Ken says, interesting. I'm on the West Coast. What should I look for? I'm looking for ocean spray, right? That's on the West Coast. And anything else that's native to your area. Because I've heard guys using stuff like sparkleberry, ocean spray. I've heard that wild rose from the West Coast is good, although I'm not sure if I've received any of those. Anything that you can find that's straight, that's native to the West Coast, would be awesome. Let's see. Patrick says, my hunting lease has lots of elm and oak. It depends on what kind of elm, though. A lot of people will sell red elm, especially on eBay. When you look for bow staves on eBay, there's a lot of red elm. I think I've used it maybe once. Mostly what I use is Siberian elm or American elm for bows. Red elm, I think I've only used it once, but I think it's still good. I don't want to say anything about red elm, good or bad, because I don't have much experience with that variety of elm. And I have experience with cedar elm from Texas. Do not use cedar elm from Texas unless you want to make a bow that's a lot bigger and thicker than you'd ever imagine. Let's see. Something's been outlawed. What has been outlawed? Yeah, Ken says, okay, looking for straight wooden branches. Well, what we look for are what we call suckers, which are shoots coming up from the base of the plant. Sometimes they come out on a branch. They're just straight, 3/8 inch diameter is where you should, is the diameter of the shoots that you should cut. At the bottom, they should be 3/8 or 1/2 inch. Okay. They'll come up from branches sometimes, but most of the time these suckers are from near the bottom of the trunk, or from a tree that has been pushed over by the wind or something. The new branches will grow up vertical and they'll be straight. Just look for those what we call suckers, and look it up on the internet. What's a sucker on a wooden tree, or what is suckers on a tree? What kind of wood is that? And then you'll find out. Let's see. Patrick says the elm I cut was really resistant to bending. It wanted to spring back hard. Yeah, elm works pretty good like that. Mike Mason says, I did ask a question, but I'll hold it to the end. All right. Or re-ask. Mike Mason. Let me look back a little bit here before I start napping. What? I see some comments. Yeah, I don't understand the comments that you made, Mike. And one of your comments was retracted, so I don't know. Yeah, just re-ask it. All right, I'm going to start napping here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to angle this down. Hopefully this is a good enough view. I have to use my computer's camera, which is not that great. Hopefully you'll be able to see the movements all right. There's always this weird thing. If I don't have enough light on the subject, it gets all blurry during movements, but it looks okay. All right, so we're going to start here. If you're new, I am going to be chatting during this session and not be too serious. I'll be looking at the chat from time to time, and if you want me to be more serious or give you instructions or whatever, I can do it. But on the live streams, I usually just chat a lot. Why? Well, people want to see yap and nap. We call it yap and nap. Okay? All right. Yeah. Nothing wrong with yap and nap. Right? Hopefully I get some agreement on that. I just dropped it on myself. Hold on. Before this starts making a big mess, let me patch that up. I just dropped it on myself. Luckily, I dulled that edge just now. See, I dropped it on myself right there, and that's going to open up if I don't patch it quickly. There we go. Alrighty. I should have been wearing my glove because that would cover it. Yeah. Let's use the two gloves. And something, I think because I banged my knuckle too. Dang it. How did I bang my knuckle? All right. So I'm using a solid copper billet, 1 inch diameter by 3 inches long. I think it's 11.6 ounces, although I probably need to weigh it again to be sure. Okay. So I'll just be yapping. It's got a slight curve in it. So it's already thinner on the ends and in the middle, but I got to keep that going, even though I do want to take a big flake off the middle once in a while. I got to make sure I don't get the middle too thin, because by memory, this stuff is snapping halfish. It's raw, New Braunfels chert from Central Texas. Now, I don't know if it's an Edwards Plateau chert. I imagine it could be, but, I'm not that much into knowing exactly what these cherts are called, because it doesn't really matter. If they don't nap well, it doesn't matter if you know everything about it. It's not going to make you nap any better. So I'm going to be taking that curve out first. I'm working on this end because it seems easier. I could be taking the curve out on that end too, which I probably should do. Yeah, let's do that. You don't know where that curve is? It dips in the middle right here. See that? So I got to take that out first. That's the worst. I work on the worst first. The worst problem is the curve. And yeah, these are thin flakes. See that? There's no way to bifacially nap something that thin and that wide. So this is what people use, or people used in the past, to cut. Instead of cutting with a biface, they cut with these flakes. They're called utilized flakes. For those that are new, you guys that have been watching the channel for a while, you already know. But you don't need to nap bifaces to cut meat. You just need to be able to produce flakes to cut meat. And the most common artifact in any site for any time period is a utilized flake. Okay? These bifacial tools are advanced items. Okay? They're not really utilitarian items. They're special. These bifacially napped items are special because, like I said, the most common, by far, artifact on any site during any time period is the utilized flake. You can tell that they used it. That's why they call it utilized. All right? This is what mankind has been using to cut meat for hundreds of thousands of years. These specialized tools that are bifacially napped are more rare, much more rare than the utilized flake. So keep in mind that these are special. They're not really utilitarian, used for everything type tools like some archaeologists or some studies will have you believe. These are special items requiring special skills. Okay. Is anybody new? Well, we only got 35 watchers, so not many people, not very many are going to be new. But in case you're new and you didn't know that, Now you know it, and now you're angry. Now you can go unsubscribe, unsubscribe. Because people want to hear something like, yeah, they are like tools that can be used for everything, like the multi-tool. A biface is a multi-tool, dude. Why would you use a biface when you've got and try to thin it down with 10 years, 20 years, 30 years experience when you can generate these in like 2 minutes? Okay? 2 minutes. That's it. You can generate this and cut meat all day with just this. Why would you want to spend years and years and years making these tools bifacially? Because these are special tools. Yeah. Not multi-tools. Okay? All right. So now you can unsubscribe. I don't like it. Unsubscribe. Did I lose anybody? No, I actually gained some. You don't know what you're in for, do you? Nope. They do not know what they're in for when they watch me napping. When they watch a yapping nap. No. Some people say, you can't be serious, dude. Are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. This is better than a biface. Much better. Just try it. Try it. Try cutting with a biface and then try cutting with this and see how it goes. And be honest. Okay? Be honest. Don't just do it and say, yeah, I tried it, but you're full of BS. No, be honest. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So why would they make special blades? So I'm getting these really cool meat cutters. Why would you make a special blade when you get these really cool meat cutters? Why would you continue just trying to make a biface? I think that these special items were made for several reasons. And one of them is because warriors need tools for fighting. One of the jobs of men is to fight. Okay? You need specialized fighting tools. You really don't want to get into a fight and only have a flake. Only flakes fight with flakes. That's the rule. I mean, I wouldn't want to get into a fight with someone that had a flake, but if you got something larger that can really, you know, penetrate further and kill easier and slice deeper than just a simple flake, you don't want to fight someone like that, right? So they're fighting tools, status tools, ceremonial tools, okay? That sort of thing. As an example, there are several reasons why you want to make a specialized biface. Let's see. Let's see. Ed Gould says there's some videos on here that talk about the first humans over 2 million years ago with the first stone tools. Yeah, yeah. Smack and rock and smack talking. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Mike Mason says Patrick's going to get me wrapped up in machismo napping. Yes, yes. I've been watching some film. I've been watching all the John Wick movies. Yeah. Trying to get my mind off of current events. I've been rewatching the John Wick series. It's fun. But yeah, see, this is what I would use to cut meat. This is high grade stuff. I'm surprised. Let's see if I can get a good transparency view. Translucency. And it's not that translucent. This is high grade stuff. I'm amazed that this new Brownfield stuff is sometimes high grade. Because I mean, I don't know if you know this, Sal, but my friend Dawn has access to a lot of this new Brownfield stuff. It's not Georgetown, although it looks similar. It's kind of snapping halfish once it starts getting thin, but it's excellent for tools. the flakes and bifaces. I'm lucky that he gave me some of this. He can get it for free. Yeah. He got places where he can go look. And I think he said he'd remove some of this from the limestone so it was not exposed to the weather. He, basically broke it out of the limestone so it's not weather damaged, which is nice. Yes. All right. So I'm still in the process of trying to figure out how to attack that big old turtleback. I'm slowly kind of picking at it. I don't really know what I'm going to do exactly. I'm still picking at it. I might have to shorten it a little bit more to run some flakes from the ends into the middle instead of trying to hit from the sides, because I want to maintain my width from the sides for later flaking to thin it down and to put bold flakes into the faces, because I don't like a lot of little flakes across the face. I like big bold flakes. All right, let's see. Hopefully I don't break it in half doing this. Well, that's not going to do it. Ready? Okay. Don't break on me, please. Yeah, that's what I want. See that? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And this is what they call a blade. It's more than twice as long as it is wide. That's what they call a blade. Now, it didn't come off a blade core. It came off a biface. So this is what I call an incidental blade, not intentional. Although I tried to make a long removal of that ridge, it looks like a blade incidentally. I don't really care that it looks like a blade. I just wanted that turtleback reduced. Okay, so these blades for me, these are incidental. Okay. That's not really why I'm napping this biface. I'm not napping it to get blades like that. All right. Get it? Got it? All right. Yeah, let's see. This has got a lot of cortex still on this side, but I'm still going to hit it like there isn't a cortex. Take a chance. Okay. That's not going to work. Let's try the other side. Okay, come on. I'm trying to be tough. Oh, it's got some incipients. Let's hammerstone some of this edge off here. I know I'm going to regret it because I'm losing a lot of width really fast. But oh well. Oh well, sometimes it's not really working. I was disappointed that didn't do anything. Where did I hit it that it didn't do anything? Oh yeah, this side here. That's disappointing. I don't want to hit it again because it's just going to not do anything again. I got to get rid of that cortex. Or abrade it enough that hitting the cortex won't matter. Ready? Yes? Hopefully this works. No? Dang it. Let's see. When are you going to work? Let me see. I got a bunch of incipients in there now. I should go to indirect percussion on that one. See, I got a bunch of crackly stuff going on there because I've got that. I'm hitting on cortex, which I shouldn't, but I want to make sure I take advantage of my width, but it's not working. That cortex is too soft. And that's a big old lump. That's just a big old chunker. Let's see if I can whittle it down with the indirect percussion. 3/8 inch copper rod. 110 copper. Okay. 110 copper. Black plastic mallet, 1.25 inch diameter. Ultra high molecular weight plastic. I think it's 9 inches long. I don't know the weight. Okay. All right. Ooh, that some flakes flew because yeah, there's a lot of incipients in there. It normally doesn't break like that, but yeah, those times I hit it, I installed some cracks, which is bad. Yeah, that's a bad thing. All right, did I do it? Can you see how hard? Can you hear how hard I hit that? I hit that so hard that the formation it came from felt the disturbance in the force. Yeah. Okay. You gotta smack it really hard. Yeah, the formation that this came from somewhere in New Braunfels, it felt the disturbance in the force when I hit that. That's how hard you gotta hit it. And sometimes you'll bend the rods. Yep. You didn't know that could happen? Man. You didn't know this Flintknapping causes disturbances in the force? Man, where you been? You haven't been watching my channel. I wonder if Blake and Sarah and Nolan are still watching. They're going to say, no, Dad, we were eating dinner. We finished dinner and then we said, okay, let's watch some other thing. They don't want to tell me what they're watching instead of me. Probably. Oh, they're trying to guess how long this is. Yeah, it looks enormous when I hold it. I'm not self-conscious about having small hands. This is 6. And I don't have my flint stretcher. Okay, I'm not cheating. I don't have my flint stretcher, or I could make a 7-inch biface out of this 6-inch piece. Okay. Yeah, I lent my flint stretcher to one of my good friends. They haven't given it back. And I said, that's fine. I know you can probably use it more than I can. I don't like these big points. What are you talking about? Nothing. Don't worry about it. You worry too much. Yes. See, those flakes cause definite disturbances in the force. But they work. Yeah. And I'm glad I'm not bending this. That's amazing. Oh yeah, I do have slight bends in it. Never mind. I'm bending that slightly with these hits. This is a brand new rod. That's how I know I've just bent it, because it wasn't bent at all. And this is one of my brand new ones I just bought. 3/8 inch rod, yes. They get short pretty quick. Ed Gould, give me $5. Super chat. Thank you. I can see that because it comes up as a banner, like it's a green banner. All right. So yeah, this is good stuff. I like it, and this is translucent. I like translucent points. Yeah, this is almost like Danish flint, like high grade Danish. This is the closest thing that I could come up that I've napped that even comes close to that high grade Danish flint. Okay, except this is more snap and half-ish from my experience. Now, this piece may not be as snap and half-ish as I've napped before, as the pieces like this I've napped before. But yeah, this is very similar to that high-grade Danish flint. Sal, you're in Texas. I think you know about this New Braunfels stuff. Maybe not, but similar stuff. This is going to be similar to that Danish flint. Okay? All right. So I'm not looking at the chat too much, except for maybe if there's a question or whatever. But I am checking it periodically, but I won't respond unless there's a question. All right. So if you're new and you just tuned in, because we got 36 viewers, yeah, that's pretty typical. So maybe there isn't too many new people, but if you are new, I'm not really looking at the chat right now. You got to hold your questions until I get back on. I'm gonna get back into the chat at 9:45 Eastern time, my time. 15 minutes before close, I'll get back into the chat. Now this is going to be, it's going to start getting difficult. This is going to be hard to get this thin down. It's kind of wonky. All right. I scooped it too much. Right there. And it's still, it can be considered slightly curved still, but I can get that out. But I need to be thinning this very carefully because it is probably snap and halfish, even though the flakes are holding together pretty well. I don't want to break this in half. It's rare that I get a piece this large to nap of this type of material. I got some nice big Georgetown pieces, but I consider this more rare than the Georgetown. All right, that was good. But see how it breaks up at the end? That's what worries me. See how it kind of shatters in some instances. It's all kind of shattery. It feathers nicely. See, that flake started right there. Pow. And then it feathers out nicely. But it shattered all in there, which worries me because if it's flexible, it won't do all that shattery stuff. Flexible means it won't snap in half as easily. But if it starts to shatter a lot, especially as it gets thinner, it gets me worried that I'm going to have to leave it kind of thick so I won't break it. All right? All right. I don't need to know all that, dude. Just do it. I don't need to know all that. I just need to know what kind of material it is. Yeah, and the weight of the rod. You never give the weight of the rod, dude. I know. It's not important, though. No. And exactly where this comes from, it's not that important. Because you probably won't be able to get any anyway. Yeah. I want stuff that acts like Danish flint. Where do I get it? I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm not going to tell you exactly where they got this. Crazy? The spot where they got it will be raided. Someone will pull up with a big old truck and take a big old trailer with them and load up literally tons of it and take off and then never nap it. Yeah. So no, I'm not telling you. No. My friend Don was generous enough to give this to me, so he trusts me not to tell anybody. Which that hurt my finger. What did it do? Usually I don't get hurt by the flakes, but that one smacked my finger. I don't know what it is. Weird shapes sometimes will come off the workpiece in a weird way. Why is that a weird shape? Because it was a lump that was very, very protrusive. I don't know how to explain it. It stuck out a lot. Anyways, you want to know what's going on when I'm napping? You want me to explain it? I'm going to explain sometimes that these flakes fly off in weird ways. It caught my finger. I don't know how it caught my finger right there. Usually it'll catch it down here, not on it, not up here on this weird side. I don't know if I was holding it weirdly. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. I think about that sometimes because I'm hitting it really, really hard. I don't want to damage my fingers, obviously. But you can cut yourself badly or hurt yourself when you're hitting this hard. Okay. La 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 la. So did you get the measurement? This was 6 inches last time I measured it. Yeah. Oh. See, it's starting to get thinner. That should have traveled further. Should have, but it didn't. Where'd it go? It went right to there. And that's it. It should have traveled further. It's getting me worried. I think it's because I'm not abrading enough. And when you don't abrade enough, it'll crush a little bit first and then send the flake in. So, and then you lose power if it crushes in the beginning a little bit. It still removes the flake, but if it's too thin, it'll crush too much in the beginning and lose energy, and then that will happen. I think that's what happened on this side. I didn't abrade it enough. But who knows? That might be a tough spot. I don't think there are tough spots in this piece. It doesn't seem like there is. I don't see any weird little crystal pockets or any concrete, which is unusual. Lucky. So I hit that step fracture from the other side, and voila, it's gone. Yes. That's what I like to see. Is it always luck? Not always, but this is luck. See how it ran a coast-to-coast flake? That's lucky. Smooth. Yeah. Like X-Lax. Do they even sell X-Lax anymore? Yeah. I don't know. Luckily, I don't need it. No. Let's see. Oh, I'll get there someday. Oh yeah. Getting old and crotchety is no fun. Yeah. I'm gonna have to be on all kinds of medication probably one of these days. But I'm gonna try not to. Like my dad, he was Mr. Pills. He said, if there's a pill for it, I want it. Yep. Anyways, I don't like taking pills. I'll take vitamin supplements. But I really don't like taking pills. Side effects. Taking medicines, like antibiotics, they make you feel better. Yeah, but still, there's this lingering weird feeling, especially with antibiotics. Last time I was on heavy-duty antibiotics is because I got bitten by my niece's cat. Yeah. I was in the hospital for 2 days because I got a cat bite. You don't know the story? I shouldn't tell you this story because the first thing people ask is, "What did you do to make the cat bite you? What did you do?" I didn't do anything. Well, I tried to stop a fight between my niece's cat and the outdoor stray cat. So I grabbed my niece's cat, not supposed to be outside. She said, "Don't let him outside, please." Okay, I won't. Open the door, zoom. He zooms out. I didn't know he was a zoomer. Okay, my fault. So I he went out. Sure enough, the outdoor stray cat was out there, and when as soon as they saw each other, like they're doing all kinds of that noises that male cats do when they see each other. So I said, "What am I gonna do? If my niece's cat gets all tore up, she's not gonna be happy." So I went outside. I grabbed my niece's cat, picked him up to bring him inside, and just before I got to the door, he turns around and bites me in my hand twice. And then I tossed him into the doorway, and closed the door. And I said, "Oh man, he bit me pretty hard," but I didn't think anything of it. I just I put sanitizer, I think, first. I didn't even wash it. And I had to do my errand and came back, and my hand started swell. It was getting swollen right away, and it very, very painful. Anyway, I said, "No, it's going to go away. It's going to be good." That night, it just couldn't get worse and worse and worse. And by the time before I was going to go to sleep, I said, "I can't sleep with this pain in my hand. I got to get some medicine." That bite was extremely painful, like I've never felt before. So I don't know if I actually took pain medication that night and slept, tried to sleep it off, or if I went to the emergency room that night. I can't remember. But anyway, I ended up in the emergency room and they said, "Yeah, you need to stay here for a couple of days." What? Yeah, it looks like a da 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 infection. I've never heard of the da 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 infection. What's that? It's sometimes people get it. It's starting to creep up. It probably is infecting the membrane between the bone and your muscle. There's a membrane in there that the infection, if it gets in there, it travels up the bone, or through, in that there's this passageway, something or other. I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, you can see it. You can see it's getting red and rashed right up near, right where it's a classic place for the infection to travel." I said, "Dang it. It's a cat bite." Yep, cat bite. So yeah, I ended up in the hospital for a couple of days. Heavy duty antibiotics made me feel blah, but probably saved my life. Moral of the story is I'm going to be very careful around cats. And it made me think. I think the Egyptians thought that cats were venomous. And it's probably because their bites can sometimes cause death from the infection. Okay, so I was finally able to get that middle step fracture out of there. But I think I might have scooped it too much. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with the width of this and keeping the flakes large. So what I'm going to do is I'll make it more narrow. Yeah. But it's always good to start with width. Sometimes it'll allow you to flake across a wide point. Sometimes it won't. In this case, I think it's going to be difficult because it wants to dive in. Yeah, I'm finding that it wants to dive. Yeah. The diving flake is my nemesis. Mm-hmm. What's a nemesis? You never read comics before? I didn't know what a nemesis was until I saw this comic book with that expression in it. I never really liked reading comic books. But I had a friend that used to collect comic books. So I got to reading some of his collection because I go over his house and what do you want to do? Let's look at comics. Okay. Yeah, all right. Let's read some comics. All right, we'll read the comics. And I find out what nemesis means. How do I remember that? I have no idea how I remember that. Or maybe my brain's just making it up. I don't know. I seem to have that memory. And there were certain comics that I liked and certain comics I didn't like because of the dialogue. Some of the dialogue was stupid. Yeah. The artwork is usually great. Sometimes the story and the dialogue were just, I don't know. He said, "No, that was a good episode, man, or a good issue." So I don't know. I mean, I don't like that. It just sounded weird. The story was kind of weird. They don't talk right. It's comic, dude. Comic. Yeah, I know. They're trying to act all villainy and all heroic, and it's just weird. Some of the dialogue. Anyways, what am I doing here? I'm still getting step fractures that I don't like. So I'm not sure exactly if I should try to remove this mess now or later. See, I'm getting these step fractures that I don't like. So I don't know. It's probably because it's too flat. Yeah. What time is it? 9:40. Got 5 more minutes. I don't see any good opportunities. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Let's see. All right, that was lucky. That's what I needed. I need a little bit of luck to go my way. Yes. It took off a bunch across that. So what did it do? I hit it right there. And it blasted it right across that mess. So now I feel better. Yeah, very lucky hit. It did continue a long ways. Which way did it go? This way? Yeah. Almost to the other side. It was going to stop there, it looks like, but then it went to the other side. Now, that also worries me later on. It might overshoot. There's always something. Yeah, if it overshoots on me when it starts to get more narrow, I'm going to be ticked. Yeah. Let's see. There is a spot here that's more translucent than the other spots. Along the edge. See that? I don't know if you can see. See that right there? That's a weird spot right there. It's more translucent than the other areas, but it's not thinner. So it might have those crystal pockets in the interior of this piece, which I hope it doesn't, because those are sometimes inconsistent and they can cause weak spots. See, the middle is starting to get too thin. I got to thin the ends down more. I'm not comfortable with the proportions right now. I think I need to thin the ends, especially the base, or especially this side. That's not the base. That's the tip, as far as I know so far. I'm going to thin down the tip a little bit. Hold on. If there's too much weight out there on the end, it's going to snap it in half. And yeah, I'll lose a little bit of length. But it's better to lose that teeny bit of length than snap it in half. Just little subtle things can make all the difference. Okay. Little subtle details can make all the difference. Come on. There you go. I know you could do it. Excuse me while I focus a little bit on this. This is the hard part. Because I got to hit it. I have to hit it with the same amount of force as before, but it's a lot thinner. What are you doing there? You're acting all tough. You don't want to flake like you were before. If the flakes start getting sticky, it's not going to be good. Nice. Alrighty then. Yeah. Okay. You did cooperate, which is nice. I'm not going to push my luck though. Because the temptation is, oh, it got thin. Let's go even thinner. Let's go even thinner, dude. Thinner. Thinness. Thinness is like crack. Yeah, it's addictive. It is. It is. Yeah. It's a high price to pay if you go for thinness. The tip is still not thin enough for my taste, though. Because I don't want to snap it in half. I've got to take the risk and thin out the tip. Yeah. It's risky thinning no matter what. Yeah. I have a tendency to break off tips. That's the thing that I have, that I've got to deal with. It's breaking off the tips. I'm not talking about the big break. I'm talking about little bitty breaks off the tips. They get me very upset. But luckily I didn't do it. Yeah. I think I thinned it down enough on the tip to continue thinning the rest of it. Yeah. But now it's time to get back into the chat. Yeah. There's still a lump there. Maybe I'll take that out. Or just take a shot at it. No, that's right where I want it to be thick. I want it to be thick right there because I still have big flakes I want to remove from the ends. So I want it to be thick in the middle just in case. Yeah. It does bug me though. Yeah. It does have an effect. Seeing that big lump there does have an effect that makes me feel like it shouldn't be that lumpy. Let's see if I can reduce it a little bit. It doesn't need to be that thick. Yeah, you're right. I don't think it needs to be that thick. I don't know. Famous last words. It doesn't need to be that thick. Let's just thin it a little bit. Yeah, just a little. We can control the flakes. They won't scoop out too much. How about that? Is that good? How about that? I don't know. Still not good? I don't know. I think it's good. No? How about that? Is that good? Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think that's good. Yeah. All right. So that doesn't bug me as much. I mean, it's probably not safe, but it looks better. It makes me feel better if it looks better. And when I feel better, I nap better. Oh yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So how long is it? It's still just so I can see so you can see. It's still the same almost. I only lost like an eighth of an inch, right? Or no? Yeah, eighth of an inch. So it's like 5 7/8. I lost a little bit off the tip, or probably off the tip when I was thinning it on purpose to take the curve out. Right? I don't know. It's a dark church, so you're not going to see much. Okay, that's it for the napping today. I enjoyed it actually. Yes, I did, because we didn't get to the really hard parts. I better not have chipped the glass. No, I didn't. A flake landed on my phone. I shouldn't have had it so darn low down near my nappings. Okay, where are we? I can't see. Where? Oh, there we are. Yeah, now I can see. All right, so where are we? Are we saying anything behind my back? Yes, always. Yeah, dude. You let us talk about whatever we want. We're going to talk about whatever we want. I don't know. Michael's keeping an eye on you guys. Can't talk about anything you want. Unless it's like free for all night. Hey, Mike, is it free for all night? Something like that. Something like that. Mike Mason says, okay, Patrick, I was asking if you think I may have a problem. My red cedar juniper shrank quite a bit. The end cuts have areas with air spaces between the sealant and the wood. Used T-bill, no cracks. Oh, dang. Well, peel the sealer off that's coming off from the wood and reseal it in those areas just to be safe. Let's see what we got. What do we got here? Dwayne Griffin, good evening, Patrick. Good evening, Dwayne. Glad you could make it. You got 8 minutes left to experience the 2-hour live stream in 8 minutes. Show it close up. Show this close up. Yeah, I can show it close up. It was a big chunker. Dwayne, you missed it. It was a big chunky flake. and I whittled it down. See, the flakes don't go all the way across on this side. I will do that later. It's convex. I left it convex so I can run long flakes. I was mainly chipping on this side to get it smooth because it was starting to get fussy. Why? Because it's flat. This stuff likes concavity. It doesn't really run flat flakes as easily as some other stuff. The highest quality flints and cherts will allow you to run flat flakes longer. This is high grade stuff, but it does like to dive. So it knocks it down from like an 8 to a 7 when it wants to dive in, but it's still good stuff. I would still say this is an 8 on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as nappability. It's just once in a while you'll get the diving flakes. Yeah, so you got to be very careful about the convexity. It has to be perfectly convex to get perfect flakes. Sometimes it doesn't need to be perfectly convex to get perfect flakes. Depends on the quality of the material. Sometimes it'll let you get away with it. You can have a flat surface pretty much, and you'll still run a nice flake without stepping or diving. Okay, all right. Dwayne Griffin says, I'm running late. All right, then perfect. This won't keep you very much because I'm signing off in about 6 minutes. Patrick Trousdale says, some say they don't like your style of napping and saving size. I save the size, but I often mess up. I see. I try to conserve the material and maximize it in general, especially when I have small flakes. I like napping the small flakes, but I also, with the small flakes, try to maximize the size. Now, it's different when you're maximizing the size on a larger piece because it becomes more difficult to manage than a smaller piece in terms of snapping it in half. Snapping in half a larger piece when trying to maximize it is more likely than when you try to maximize a smaller piece. In my experience, in my view, and in my opinion, it may not be that way for all people. Some people will snap little ones easier than these bigger ones. So it just it's just the way it goes. Some people have different experiences or different methods or different styles or just different mindsets that allow them to nap these larger pieces without as much risk as I seem to have. Okay. Let's see. Ralph Snyder's here. Meth pockets give a point a real character? What is a meth pocket? Patrick Trousdale says Jack does best for maximize. Ralph Snyder says Danish Flint or Flint Danish? Now, if someone came up with a Flint Danish, I might try that. Yeah. What type of Danishes do you make? I make Flint Danishes. Really? I want to try that. Patrick Trousdale says, I'm so glad other people have their way. That's what makes it fun. I'm glad you think it's fun. Alan Cole says, don't smoke it, Sal. Mike Mason says, Sal can't even make fat points. Sal makes some good thin points. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see here. I'm going to go back in the chat and see if there's anything that I missed that I should address. All right. Oh, talking about prospecting, you guys? Let's see. What is this? What are you guys talking about? Mm-hmm. Sluices in the gravel pits? What's a sluice in the gravel pit? Uh, let's see. Hmm. Sal, you're a funny guy. It's funny. The key to being successful is eating a bowl of frosted flakes and stick your tongue out while napping. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. You guys are funny. There's some other stuff in here I'm not going to read. Okay, so are we almost there yet? Patrick Trousdale says gravel pits have gold that the screw breaks down and the gold falls out. Oh, okay, I see. The sluice is is where you're separating the gold from the gravel, I guess. Pits in gravel, even in Texas, have gold. I see. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, you got to go through a lot of the gravel, though, right? I mean, you just can't find it easily. Dwayne says, "How is your family of skunks doing?" I've learned that skunks drift in and out occasionally. Uh, okay, I see them only occasionally now. So Jumpy and Muddy, Jumpy, Muddy, and Mangy Tail were the first three regulars that would come around. I see Mangy Tail a lot still, and I think he's a male. He's huge now and fat. Okay, and no more Mangy Tail. He's got full fur now, very long. Everything's good. I think I saw Muddy today, but I'm not sure because I think she's a female and she's gotten really fat. So I can't remember the pattern on her back now. She looks different. I think Muddy is back. Now, I haven't seen Jumpy in a month or so, but I see a lot of little babies now. At least three from Jumpy's litter, I think, are coming around regularly. And there's other little ones that come around, and there's some that are very white on the back, a lot of white fur, and some with barely any white fur on the back. Just the typical thin stripes for a striped skunk. And there's one skunk that comes around, is fairly new, that has very thin white stripes and is almost totally black. That one I haven't named. There was one similar to that that had fatter white stripes, but was mostly black that I called Scary because I almost walked up on him, didn't see him. I think it was a male. I don't know. Usually the males will fight, and not many males will hang around. The males will not like each other hanging around in their spaces. So there's only one large male now here, and that's Mangy Tail. And the other ones I think are all females. Let's see. That's the story on the skunk so far. Bert's projects. Let's see. Question is, can you explain or theorize why my obsidian and other napping materials seem to flake nicely on one side and step and crush on the other side? Uh, yeah, one theory is one side is more convex or conducive to flaking than the other side. That's especially with obsidian, since obsidian is pretty consistent. Now, there is some obsidian that does have layering in it. So you may have the type of obsidian that does have some weird layers in it. So it does nap better in one direction than another direction. Some people, that's all they've got is stone with layers in it. They can't figure out why it naps good in one direction and not another direction. It has layers in it, obsidian included. So you may just have layered obsidian. But if not, it usually has to do with convexity. One side has better convexity than the other side. Okay. The one that naps really nice probably has really good convexity, and the other side that doesn't probably is flatter, like mine. This side is flat. It gets all crushy and steppy because it's flatter. And then this side up here is going to nap without all the crushing and all that because it's more convex. There's different reasons. And I probably skipped over a couple other reasons why. Yeah, I don't want to take a peek at the skunks to see who's male or female. I'm just going by size. And you know that I'm not going to do that. Not even one of them is named Stinky? No, not even one of them is named Stinky, asks Danny. That's funny. They don't smell, and their scat doesn't smell. Well, I've noticed though that they drag their butts on the ground to mark their territory. They also poop around where they find food. It's annoying because they find poop around the areas where I throw the cat food. They poop around that area, I guess, to find it later by the scent. But it doesn't smell bad. They do spray each other. The only time I smell them is when they spray each other, or when they spray the neighbor's dog. One of them has sprayed the neighbor's dog right on my porch. That was pretty bad because I could smell that for about a week. The other time the neighbor's dog got sprayed was in the grass next to the house, which I didn't smell until the wind came by one day, but only smelt it for one day. But yeah, they don't stink. Brennan says here, just lurking. I did a little howdy at the beginning, just a quiet watcher watching the watchers watch this night. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Patrick says, plan for your strike direction and make sure before you do it. Bill Taylor says, well, my Wi-Fi just came back in. I missed quite a bit, but now the chat is frozen and probably over. No, I'm still on. You should still be able to go back in the chat and see if you want to read a little bit. Yeah. King Mangy Tail has a harem. Yes, he does, says Alan Cole. Let's see. Yeah, none of them are named Flower like in Bambi. No. Ken says raccoons are always stealing my cat's food on the deck. Yeah, we don't have raccoons around here for some reason. We have 2 foxes, probably 3 that come around, and I throw out chicken bones that are left over from my soups that I make. The chicken bones get really soft, so they eat the bones, the ends especially, and they crunch up the middle and leave little shards of bone in the yard. But they eat the marrow out of the middle and just leave little shards of bone. Those are easy to clean up. Mangy Tail sounds like a nightclub, says Sal. Patrick says, I have 2.5 degree, a high banker, and 3 sluice boxes, and I live in the worst area. That's why I started Flintknapping. So, yeah, okay. So I don't have to read it all. Everyone else has already read everything in the chat. Okay. So I didn't miss any questions? Okay. All right. So I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to close it up. Let's see. Mike Tuff says, I heard that I've been here too. Okay. I just been working in the garage and listening. Very good. Very good. Bren says, I have a pretty big possum coming up on the porch at night for the cat food. She isn't especially mean, and the cats just look at her. They live such a short life. I think I'll leave her be. Yeah, we got a big possum and a little possum that comes around nowadays. There used to be two little ones. Now there's a big one that I haven't. The neighbor says it's huge. I've just caught a glimpse. I think it is pretty big. But there's a little one that comes around. It's pretty daring. It'll come up, but the possums are so much more shy than the skunks that I barely get a chance to look at the possums. Yep. Take care, everybody. I'm going to close it up. I'm going to end the live stream here in a minute. Everyone have a great night. The next live stream is Monday. Yeah, Monday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I will be doing some napping videos this weekend. Yeah, I got a lot to catch up on. I did all my other last week's videos all on Sunday and Monday. I'm going to try to do some more tomorrow than I did last week. I didn't do any on Saturday last week. Yeah, I'll try to get a bunch in because I've got a lot of stuff, a lot of challenges that I need to do. Challenge rock that I need to get to. All righty. We'll see you later, guys. Thanks, everybody. Good to see everybody. And Bert's Project says, thanks for the theories and other explanations as well. You're very welcome. I hope they were helpful. All righty, everybody. Good night. We'll see you in the next video, hopefully tomorrow. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.